Welcome back to Copper Star Precision, the channel dedicated to getting you more points at your competitive shooting matches. I know I'm a bit late for the June NRL22 Course of Fire videos. We're going to do a little bit of an abridged version, just cover all 5 stages in one video. Been busy putting together this rifle, which you've seen some videos on. They've been pretty well received, so check that out on the channel if you haven't already. And without further ado, let's just get into the stages. Pretty interesting Course of Fire, a lot of memory games, some small targets. Stage 1 is on the pyramid. It's called Now for Something Different. Basically, I'll put the stage description up here. It's going to be on the pyramid. We've got a KYL rack at 35 yards. If your club is doing option 2, that's going to be very tough. Same KYL rack, but at 50 yards. Usually when we engage the KYL rack at 50 yards, we're doing it from a prone position. Now we're doing it from a barricade. So there's basically 3 positions we need to take: standing, kneeling, and a different standing position. And really, the keys to success here are going to be knowing your body type and what works for you. So I'm just over 6 foot. I can reach the 5th for standing, but it's usually pretty unstable because I'm almost on my tippy toes. And so I'm going to stand on the 4th rung. If you're shorter than me, you may want to consider either standing on the 4th or 3rd rung. Kneeling for most people, I think, is going to be rung number 2. You can do a high kneel in position number 3. But I think getting a little lower center of gravity is going to be good. And then kneeling for rung number 1 is going to be pretty challenging. Puts a lot of strain on your neck if you're trying to kneel here and then look through the scope. So I think most people are either going to do rungs 4, 2, and then 4, or probably maybe 3, 2, and then 3. So with that said, it's a 12-round stage, so if you have to do a mag change, think about where you want to do that. My advice would be after the 8th shot, starting a string of fire with a fresh magazine in. And really, it's all about just getting stable. So for the standing position, like I said, I'm going to be on rung 4. Usually when I run the pyramid stage, I have a flat bag, but today we're using the heavy fill medium. We're going to put the rifle down. Basically, you're pulling the rifle into you. Pull the rifle into your shoulder with your trigger hand, and then lean your whole body into the barricade, and that makes for a very stable platform. So what you're trying to do is create a tripod here, front bag, and then your 2 legs. Remember, I see a lot of people still doing the bend the knees. This is just going to lead to muscle fatigue and get you really wobbly. So you want straight legs, pull the rifle into your shoulder, and then lean in to the barricade and the bag. Now, I've seen a lot of people do a lot of stuff with their support hand. You either squeeze the bag like this. I've seen some people put it in between the next rung up and kind of put pressure on the scope to stabilize the rifle this way. Some people come over the top of the scope like this, put weight down into the bag. Honestly, it's personal preference. I kind of just like coming into the rifle, left hand over here is basically gripping the bag. Remember, rifle pulled into the shoulder and then pushed into the barricade, legs straight. This is your first position and 3rd position. So good breathing, good fundamentals. Break 4 shots at the KYL rack. Rifle's really nicely balanced here. It's also aided by this bag stop. It's really important if you're going to be doing that where you push into the bag, you don't want that up against your mag. So having some sort of barricade stop here, extremely advantageous. Now we're going to come down to the kneeling position. Same 4 shots on the KYL rack, large to small. Here, I might bring along a support pillow, not necessary, but something that some people might want. Again, here, since we have rear support, we're basically just pushing into the gun. And here I'm putting my elbows in this bag, and I'm kind of just hooking the buttstock, pushing into the barricade, stabilizing the rifle. And here, I'm using my left hand as rear support and using this to drive the rifle. So my trigger hand here, all it's really doing is pulling the trigger. Nice and stable. If you don't have a support bag like this, just as easily. For me, this is a low kneel, so I'm gonna keep my knees wide apart. If I can, I'm not gonna try and bounce up and down. I'm gonna try and sit on my heels. That rifle pull into the shoulder, push into the barricade, find the target, breathing, good trigger press. Shot, and now we just have to simply do another standing position, which for most people is just going to be the opposite side of whatever rung you started on. So for me, that's 4. Again, rifle into the shoulder, push into the barricade. You get the idea. Good breathing. I've seen some people push it into The side here, you know, get yourself a decent bag, game changer, should be plenty stable. Because this pyramid is a tripod, pushing into the barricade should be extremely stable. I'm putting a lot of force on here and it's barely moving. So don't be afraid. Again, rifle into the shoulder, push into the barricade, engage the targets. And that's all there is to it for stage number 1. Stage 2, ladder stage, very similar to the stage we just did on the pyramid. Same basic principle. Here, there's a little bit of twist. We have 2 targets. I'll put the stage description up here. Basically, 5 different rungs. We're going near to far, and we have to declare at one time when we're going to engage a super small target 1 inch at 70 yards. So it's going to be near to far, near to far, near to far. And I'm going to talk about when you might want to engage that far target and basically strategy for this stage. Again, I really like flat bags attached to the rifle. Does really well on the ladder, but because this is a little bit more wide than the vertical 2x4s we're using on the pyramid in the last stage, you may want to consider, instead of hanging your bag like this, flipping it on its side, getting a nice purchase this way. You kind of have to figure out what works for you, but because they're a little bit flatter, sometimes laying the bag on its side helps. But essentially, strategy is the same for most ladder stages. We're going to start at the top, work with gravity, work our way down. Again, this comes down to body type and height. Usually for me, top 2 rungs are standing, just kind of like in the last video. And then we have 2 kneeling positions and then modified prone. For modified prone, I usually bring some sort of rear support pump pillow with me on the stage. There's not much to the stage, near to far, near to far. I'm going to advocate using holdovers for the first 4 rungs. Come down here, shoot your near target, dial up for the far target because that small target's on the far hanger. So now we're dialed for the far target, engage the far target, and then from a modified prone, lowest to the ground, most stable position, engage that 1 inch target. When you get down to here and you're engaging the far target, really have good follow through, watch your shot, try and make a win call off of that impact or miss, so that when you engage the far target, you have a little bit better odds of hitting that target. But other than that, it's pretty much the same as the previous stage. You're just gonna find what position works for you. If you are too short to reach the 5th rung, I advocate starting on the 3rd rung. So we're gonna go 3 and then 4, 3, 2, 1. So start on 3 because you can't stay on the same rung. So we're gonna start on 3 and then you work with gravity again, 4, 3, 2, 1. For me, it's gonna be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm gonna put the bag down, rifle in. Again, rifle into the shoulder, push into the barricade, using my left hand to stabilize. I'm gonna find that near target, engage, far target, hold over, and we're moving. Bolt back to move, you get the idea. This position is gonna be much like the previous position on the pyramid 4th rung. Okay, knees far apart, don't bend the knees, legs straight. Now we're onto a kneeling position. For me, this is a high kneel. Both knees down, make sure you're square to your target. Come into, again, pull into the shoulder, push into the prop. 1, 2, okay. Remember you hold over the 2nd target. Now we're in a low kneel. This is pretty much exactly the same as the 2nd rung from the pyramid that we just talked about. So it's gonna be low. Try and sit on your ankles if you're that flexible, more stable in the back. You don't want to try and be bouncing up and down like this. Okay, now, last position. Bag down, rifle in. Here I bring my rear support that I had with me at the start of the stage. I'm gonna take my time getting into a modified prone position. Find the first target. Engage. Now we're dialing up. 2nd target. Really good follow through here. Shoot the 2nd target, hopefully made an impact. Maybe we saw it hit right edge of plate. So we're gonna favor left on the small target. You have to declare, I'm engaging the small target, and then break the shot, okay? If it is your last shot, technically you don't have to declare, but I would just advocate declaring anyway, so there's no confusion what the spotters are looking for. So that being said, it's pretty easy. Near to far, targets are relatively small. That last one is a doozy. But again, work with gravity, figure out what body position, standing, kneeling, or modified prone works for you. And I end here because I don't have to get out of this position. Once I'm here, the stage ends, and I can take my time, take my magazine out, put my chamber flag in, get off the line for the next shooter. I don't have to worry about getting out of this position and going to build another position. So I like to end on the modified prone, and the most stable is down here. That's why I'm taking it the last shot from this position. Stage 3 is called chair against the wall. The reason I have the ladder here is because I kind of wanted to show you that 3 cinder blocks is about the height of the second ladder rung that we used from the previous stage. If that gives you an idea of what kind of position you might want to be in. The chair is about halfway in between the first and second rung, so probably not quite low enough for a modified prone. So it's also probably going to be a kneeling position on both of these. So I just wanted to bring the ladder in there to show you. I'll put the stage description up on the screen. Pretty straightforward. We've got a chair. I know it's backwards of the picture in the course of fire, but this is kind of hopefully so you can see what's going on. We've got a chair seat, the brick wall, back to the chair seat, 4 shots from each position, and it's going to be near to far, small to large. So that first target, 1 inch at 60 yards, is the smallest target. So I would probably dial for each target. I think you're gonna have time. So I would dial for your 60-yard dope, take 2 shots, dial up, dial back down, adjust parallax as you need to. And what will save you some time on this stage, I think most people, what they're gonna do is they're gonna have some sort of bag, put it sideways. You don't wanna have it like this, it's a little bit more unstable. Turn the bag sideways, that's gonna be your position here. Rifle goes down, hopefully nice and balanced. If you have a pump pillow, fantastic rear support here. Fits perfectly under there. Of course, we want to be square to the target. So 2 shots near, find the near target, engage, small first, then large. We're going to dial up 100 yard. If we have to adjust parallax, we do so. Small, engage, large, engage. Now what's going to save you time at the start of the stage is bring yourself another bag. So second bag, also sideways. If you don't have a second bag, try and borrow one from your squad mates. We're gonna put this towards the rear. We don't want this forward because it might interfere with our magazines, our grip, that kind of stuff. So we're gonna keep this towards the rear, and saves you time. You don't have to move the bag. You can just move the rifle over like this. Again, we're always pulling the rifle in and then pushing into the barricade. I can also bring this here, a little extra stability under my elbow. Same thing. This is a little bit more wobbly depending on how much rocks you have in between these concrete blocks. So we're definitely pushing into the barricade, getting stable. Remember, we have to dial back down and engage, and then we're right back to here. So pretty straightforward stage. What I would say is if you have a second bag, you can just leave this up here. So the start of the stage, you have 2 bags in your hand. You put one down here, and then you put one down over here, and start here. Having rear support always helps. If you don't, it's just a matter of getting square to the target. Using your hand, support the rifle and the bag. And then again, remember, it's always pulling in and then pushing into the barricade. Nice and stable there. So not much to this stage, pretty simple target order. Near to far, small to large. So small, large near, small, large, far. And then just repeat. If you have to do a mag change, I always advocate starting the whole string of fire with a fresh magazine. So it's going to be 4 shots, mag change, back to here for the last 4 shots. Let's get into stage number 4. Stage 4 is prone stage, so there's not much to talk about here except we have weird target orders. So let's discuss the target order, what you might write down on your dope card, and whether or not you should dial, hold over, anything like that. So I'll put the stage description up here, and basically go prone. This is the bonus stage, so you get extra time for time on the clock. Don't worry about going fast, worry about making impacts. The near target, 2.5 inch at 45 yards, that is what the kids call these days dummy thick. So honestly, that is like a throwaway target. You really shouldn't miss that target. So I would dial for the middle target at 85 yards. It's gonna be a minor holdover to the 90-yard target. And I would hold under and not even adjust parallax for that first target. It's gonna be blurry, depending on what magnification you're on, but it's so big, it shouldn't matter. So, you know, 2.5, we're shooting a 2 inch at 45 and also a 2.5 inch at 90. So kind of crazy. It's like 5 MOA target. So really kind of no excuse for missing that. And if you're gonna wanna go fast to get bonus points, I would not even parallax for that target, and I would hold under. I wanna be dialed for those targets that are harder to hit, further out, more infected by environmentals in the wind. So I'm gonna have my dope set for the 85-yard target. I have my hold under for the 45-yard target written on my dope card, and then the crazy order. Remember, This stage is not difficult. It's testing your mental ability to keep track of the target order. And also remember, given the new rules for the 2024-2025 season, what that means is your squad mates can tell you wrong target instead of not calling an impact, right? So also be a good squad mate. If someone messes up the target order, you can say wrong target. So that might help them get back on track. So it's going to be middle, far, near for the first three, far, near, middle, far, and then near, far, middle. And I like the kind of way it's broken out like that. So middle, far, near, and then far, near to far, and then near, far, middle. You just have to write it down on a dope card. Write it down, write down the target order. Don't get confused. If you're going fast, you're probably gonna make a mistake. But again, I would not parallax for that first target. I would hold under, I would dial for the second target, and I would hold over for that third target. It should be just a couple of tenths difference between the two. So not much to say here, just know your target order. And that throwaway target at 45 yards, I mean, don't take it for granted, but it should be simple to hit. So don't spend a lot of time dialing or trying to parallax for that. Make a good hold and just send it. Stage 5 is the rooftop stage. I don't have a rooftop, so I have this folding table here to demonstrate on. And essentially, this is another one of those stages where it's about mental acuity. Target order is really gonna matter. It shouldn't be too difficult, 10-round stage. A lot of times when there's a rooftop, I like to put my bipod on rooftop on the laying perpendicular to the firing line, of course. I like to put bipod front because I have this nice sky pod that can cant in all kinds of weird directions, right? And it makes a very stable shooting platform. But there's so much movement going on this stage. We basically have a bunch of positions, and I think it's gonna actually cost you more time and trip you up more if you're using a bipod. So let's go with a one-bag solution. I might bring a pump pillow for the lower positions for rear support. There is a restriction that forward support bags or bipods cannot touch the ground. So you can't put on the low position here, you can't put a big bag between the ground and the rooftop and shoot off of that. So that's not allowed. But what I recommend here is, this is an OG game changer. And usually we're always putting it on the barricades like this. But if we turn it upside down, and because it's on a rooftop, what's gonna happen is it almost makes like a flat shooting platform because this is at an angle. And then what this becomes is kind of like a right angle this way. So it gives us actually a flat level shooting plane here. So if I put this here and I shift some of the sand so it's all in the bottom, when I put the rifle on here, the rifle stays straight up and down. So the rifle is plumb and just makes shooting relatively easier. So then grab the bag. Here I'm grabbing the bag and the scope, squaring up to the targets and engaging this way. So that's something to think about. One bag solution, plenty fine here. If you feel like you want to bring a pump pillow inside here for more support, if you want to do some sort of modified kneeling position, it's going to depend on the build of your rooftop, all that kind of stuff, but you can bring rear bags. But I think this is kind of a trick that people, turning the Game Changer upside down or any wedge-shaped bag, when it splays out on a sloped surface, it almost makes like a shelf for your rifle to sit right in. And as you can see right there, extremely stable and yeah, nice and plumb. So give that a shot. Other than that, it's just going to be the target order. We've got two banks of targets. But what we're going to do is we're going to engage the far target from the peak of the rooftop, center of the rooftop, bottom of the rooftop. So we're just doing this, and then we're moving down. And when I move down, the rooftop is the opposite way in the picture, but I would use my right hand, so just mirror everything I'm doing. Left hand, grab this to keep the sand in the part that's towards the bottom. Smack that down, rifle down. Again, that makes a nice shelf. Rifle is plumb. And same thing for the bottom there. So we're going far target. So I'm dialed for the far target. 1, 2, 3. Then we're gonna go large to small, bottom, center, peak. So we're staying on the bottom. I'm gonna dial down for that close target. And it's gonna be large, small, then the center, large, small, near, top, large, small, near. And then the center of the rooftop, the near small target for one last shot. So it's 1, 2, 3, 6 shots on the near going up, back to the center, near small target. So again, it's just one of those mental things where you have to keep track of the target order, write out your dope card, make sure you got it all said and done. So I'll be taking this rifle to a match tomorrow, competing in base class. There's been a couple minor modifications since the last match. I've put some more weight up here, some copper weights, because this is Copper Star Precision. So we'll see how it does. So stay tuned for match footage. I know this was a bit of an abridged Course of Fire. I just want to get it out. I did want to get it out for people before the first Sunday of the month. I've been busy with the build and other things, but if you like this content, I know we have some new subscribers from the MTR build that we're doing. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Let me know down in the comments what you liked, what you didn't like, what strategies you're going to use. And until I see you next time, as always, score more points.